you've always pointed him out as the most underperforming minister. Someone who said that at one time maybe he's going to mortgage Uganda. Now, generally, let's look at Museveni's cabinet, which caught some of us by surprise, especially positions of the Prime Minister and the Vice President. But also, as we debate this, I want you to consider, look at this. President Museveni goes to East and picks a Vice President from there. That has, Teso, sub-region. That had never happened in the history of Uganda. And also, he picks a Prime Minister who is a female. That also has never happened in the history of Uganda still. Prime Minister. You want to correct me? We've never had a Prime Minister who is a female. We've never. You will, counsel, yes, come in and analyze President Museveni's cabinet, and are you sure, or are you optimistic or pessimistic that Vision 2040 will be attained with the help of this team?
Well, thank you, Edirisa, and to our viewers. Just like my Ireland sister submitted her worship in nanjura, I don't really think there is any essence or I would say competence, hard work I would expect from this cabinet that His Excellency appointed. In my opinion, I believe it's kind of a presidential patronage move, the cabinet that he appointed. It was based basically on loyalty and then some sort of kickback token to those who had helped him maintain or attain the victory, the purported victory attained in this 2021 concluded general elections, but not at all attuned to serving the will or the wish of Ugandans as a whole. Point in position, you look at the Nabanja and then Jessica Alpo. Me, in my opinion, I think His Excellency was looking at basically awarding or making, time and again His Excellency has said he will ensure that the military takes precedence in whatever is seen as the head of state to run. And in my opinion, I think he
said that he found them not easily corrupted.
No, it's not all.
They are very honest.
You see, the president himself the first time and again come out and yelled to the corrupt officials and called them parasites. So if you yourself, your voice referred to the previous cabinet, the people you associate with, that they are corrupt. Now, what unique thing should we expect in this so-called, in my opinion, affirmative action-related cabinet that is not really looking at serving the intentions of the people but to satisfy his goals? You see, one thing we need to know is that His Excellency, just like our worship was said here, His Excellency is that kind of person, in my opinion, who chooses or appoints people not to help him, not to advise him, but is there to advise them and direct them on what to do, but not serving the will of the people. You remember when J. Palm at some point had become more or less like a super minister. The old man saw that he had become a threat to him. And what happened? It ended in tears. It ended in tears. So he wants someone who is submissive.
J. Palm had clearly showed his interests, that he is actually eyeing the top seat. And nobody can tolerate such a person in their camp. Obviously, you have to kick him out.
Listen, once you are the appointing authority, you shouldn't look at your personal selfish interests, but at the personnel you have appointed, representing or bring on the table the wishes of the ordinary person. Because ordinarily, in my opinion, the way I understand the constitutional mandate that is given to His Excellency to appoint ministers to form part of the cabinet is basically, and why actually most of the cabinet people include the parliamentarians, is basically to see that the wishes of the local people these people are representing are elevated to the cabinet and they are well catered for. Now here, we are seeing a different strategy, whereby we have lost meaning to the constitutional line of appointment and objective line behind the appointments, but it's purely premised on being a military personnel, being so loyal to His Excellency, being very submissive, because you see, in Uganda it's the only country where we have.
If I may ask counsel, how many generals and military officials are in the cabinet list?
No, we are not. I'm not saying that all the people he appointed are generals. Quote me right. I'm saying militarization. Military personnel can even be a corporal, as long as the person has a military background and is on the cabinet. That's what I'm talking about. And we all know where His Excellency is heading, because we realize that he has more or less continuously militarized every institution. Internal affairs, you go to URA, almost all institutions. I think him personally, I'm not saying I'm good to read his mind, but I think him personally.
But he has justified that, like I told you earlier. He has already said that he found his military men and women, people who are very honest. They don't engage in so much corruption like the Wananchi do. That's why he has brought them into NADIS, has brought them
but
into
you see, Lisa, between you and me, if I may ask you, by Mr. Tim can guide us, he has some information from the party. I'm not saying all the information, but he has some. If we may assess the progress of NADS, how has it performed?
That will be for the next time. But I want to ask you something. I want to ask you something, Council. How has President Museveni changed in his way of picking the ministers and state ministers he's going to work with?
Now, for me,
how has it changed? Previously, what has he been considering, and now he's no longer considering that?
I think, in my opinion, apparently he's looking like he clearly brought it out. His Excellency, don't think that by him saying that Jesus chose fishermen, that for him is dense. No. He knows what he's driving at. The point of loyalty that he brought out, he just didn't want to tell you that I chose people who stood by me in the difficult times to ensure that I win the 2021 general elections. It's not all about merit. Because
but if you speak about loyalty, in the same cabinet, I'm seeing he appointed some people actually opposed to him in the previous elections.
That's
people from the opposition.
You see,
are they still opposed
to him? Are they still opposed to him? You see, there are people who purport to be opposed. And His Excellency has always been...
With Council Kalali, today I was accessing my social media and I bumped into the statements of her former, I think, ally, or let me say,
how did you say so?
No. Yeah. The vice chairperson of FDC.
Oh, yeah.
So she was like, you see, opposition has weaknesses. When I was contesting in Rubaga, nobody came out and talked to Chagulanyi about me contesting as an opposition there, and I'm supported. But they're the same people who are criticizing me after the president awarding me.
I think that was just a lame excuse.
Exactly.
What else could she tell the public?
Because
FDC was not in a coalition with no.
We shall come.
We all competed with no.
You see, when you hold on, before we go to it, you see, where the Lord Mayor here can assert to that. There are a lot of dialogues that have been between the NRM and the FDC.
That's not true. Maybe Museveni has been talking to individuals, just like he has been talking to individuals like Sebuwa. We can't dialogue with Museveni over what?
Somebody who's been here for the last 35 years.
No.
Now
we have nothing to dialogue with.
5 years, because parents have given him mandate.
You cannot dialogue a dictator out of power. No.
I'm here by bringing in members of the opposition. First of all, is he doing it in good spirit? Or is he trying to actually implement what he told us some good years back, that there's a certain time when he's going to finish completely off the opposition? What is doing bringing members of the opposition to this cabinet? Is it out of, goodwill for the good of this nation?
Let me tell you, in politics, it's always game plans that work. Same even applies to FDC. When they got their wrangles with Bungisha Motu, and definitely there was a division. We didn't come out to criticize, because there were loopholes within the system. Same applies to NRM. NRM also as a party. The old man might have seen it right to do things his way, because he's always been consulting people, and by the time you come up with a cabinet, it is termed as ineffective. And people come and criticize you. They say you have chosen ministers who are corrupt. You are basing on the NRM historicals. Today he has come out, he is brought to another cabinet that has purely people that are not historical, but people who are there to serve.
Right.
They have served in various positions.
And now they perform.
Now, today, they have again come out and they say, you see, the president made a mistake. Was to come and choose these people on his own because they are very loyal to him. But I'm telling you, these are people who are working. You have to give them time so that you can understand. There's always what they call the first 100 days in office.
When he brings members of the opposition, is he doing this for the good of the nation, or his intent is to finish off the opposition?
Let me tell you, they have always, even in any government, there's always been time where opposition at one point has to work with government for the better. Let's look at Kenya.
I know, but we're questioning his intentions.
But me, I think
said before.
You see, you can't read the president fully because I'm telling you, he is a person that you can sit with.
No, he has said before. He has said before. Actually, he made this statement way back in, I think it was in 2016, that by 2021 we'll have finished off the opposition, and I'm pretty sure he has failed because we saw another strong opposition emerging. That is NUP.
As a political scientist, if you have to look at any political engagement or any political play, are you certain that even you, if you're given the capacity, can you dry out opposition completely?
It's not possible.
It's not possible.
But I wanted to briefly respond to him.
There is a certain percentage or there's a certain level that you can try and weaken it. You see, FDC has been dwelling in the...
So his intentions are not good by bringing members of the opposition.
That one is solely to the president. as an individual, my opinion can be that I don't know his engagement on how he has engaged the opposition to come and work. Opposition, as you are saying, her worship here, the people that can come and say, you see, we're not engaged or we're not consulted on the Sebugwa.
Of course we are not.
State minister.
We can't even
but
be
then,
consulted.
If herself, she can come out and say, you see, people have been with FDC 20 years down the road. Even in this very recent, when Lord Mayor was tussling on her side, and Sebugwa was also in Robaga, they sent fellow opposition on me. Instead of us uniting and forming one front, they sent opposition on me. So I have opted that let me work with the government to serve in this capacity for my nation.
Okay. Her Worship, Deputy Mayor. Here we have President Museveni. First he began with Christopher Chibazanga in 2015. He came to your pond and he netted a big fish, Christopher Chibazanga. And now he comes again and takes another co-founder, a big name, yet again from your camp. And now people have started wondering about the future of the FDC. This is the party which, first of all, saw most of its co-founders walk away. Mugisha Muntu is out of the party. Rubaramira Ranga went back to the NRM. Amanya Mushega is quiet. We don't know where
he is. He's not quiet. He was actually appointed a commissioner in education recently.
Oh, yeah, sure. Now, where does the future of the FDC lie? If somebody says that this party is slowly dying off, don't you think they are kind of right?
We shall not let the party die because we love it. We are full of energy. And we are going to work to make sure that FDC does not die out. For me, it's not just a matter of someone waking up and saying FDC is dying. Certainly it will not die because leaders will always emerge. Yeah,
I think
leaders will always emerge. I think if you are to go,
I beg your pardon. Yeah? I should have started my question this way because just yesterday you made a statement and you said that you were aware that most of these people are in talks with the president. And you are also aware that Najana Nkumbi is infiltrated by Museveni. Actually, you answered my question, which I've been asking for the last 5 years. Why Dr. Kizza Besigye chose to create another office on Katonga Road? We've been wondering. And then you answered our question yesterday when you said that that's the reason why they created that office. Because they had realized that in Najana Nkumbi, Museveni had actually extended his arm there.
The people's government.
Maybe before that,
not necessarily.
he had actually created that office, and we're wondering that why would he create another office? Wasn't he going to be competing with Najanakom? Now let's take it up from there. Now here you are aware that Museveni has infiltrated into your car, and even you said even at Katonga Road, again he's there. There are people whom you know that they are in talks with Museveni. Where does the future of your party lie?
Of course, all parties are infiltrated, and for me, I think that is how all dictators work. That for them to make their grip on power even more stronger, they'll have to infiltrate parties in the opposition that are a bit strong. And of course, my saying that Katonga also has some people who are working for Museveni. Of course, OHT has been FDC, and she has also been part of the people's government. Yeah, but in FDC we have an open door policy. When you open the door, certainly there are those who will come in and there are those who will leave. So if we continuously shut the door for the likes of the OHT what to keep around, then we shall block very many other people from joining the party. And like I had earlier on stated before you cut me short, I said leaders will always emerge. Before Dr. Kebi came in, who was powerful? There's that strong DP man. No, before even Semogerere, right?
96
People are wondering if Semogerere goes, then what next? Then we saw Kebi coming in, we saw Sebagala coming in. Currently we have, we have seen Bobby Wine coming in. Yeah, people thought now if Kebi is not coming back, then what? What is going to happen to the struggle?
But but she's keeping Patrick.
Yes, that's what I was coming.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Well, it's okay, but he's also part of the struggle. He's been at the front line. And if I'm to compare what Bobby Wine got and what Power got, certainly Bobby Wine scored a higher percentage. That is why I was referring to him.
Yes.
I couldn't refer to my party president because I know the percentage.
Which again makes us worry for the FDC.
No, why would you be worried about FDC? FDC is a national party. Look at our MPs that we have in parliament.
Why?
Are we getting the MPs from one region? No. So FDC still has that national outlook. And for me, this is what I want to say. That the people of Uganda support their interests. They don't necessarily support individuals. We used to have the likes of Betty Kamya. She was very powerful, yeah, when she was in FDC. When she joined NRM, was she powerful? We have Sebagala, yeah. He commanded. There are those I have heard. Me, I was still in the village. So that he used to command the entire Kampala for them to support Dr. Chiza Besigye. People were supporting their interests because they were seeing their interests were in Sebagala. But the moment you cross to the other side, we all know that you couldn't command anyone. So for me, I'll not grieve that OHT has left. Because also FDC, her being in opposition, was also helping her. Is she now going to still remain popular the way she was when she was still identifying with FDC?
Why not? Now
I think I can leave that answer to you. I can leave you to answer that question. I've already given you examples. We have Betty Kamya.
Yeah.
When she joined NRM, did she become strong or weak?
I think you asked us a question and we are
talking about Beatrice Anywa. She used to mobilize her region when she was in FDC. When she joined NRM, we all know that she was defeated by Oneka Lit. I've given you an example of Sebagala. So my point is, people don't support individuals. Today, people love me because I'm in the opposition. Should I join NRM tomorrow? They will not support me. There are those that are supported because they belong to NRM. Maybe people are saying, this one can work for us.
You see, where she contested from is already an infested area, politically by opposition. So, but then if you have your own ideology and people buy into, the population can vote you.
You see, Edirisa, for me, I think I would side with what our worship is saying. What she says totally holds merit, and it's some pregnant point we shouldn't just overlook. because we have seen some of these so-called, you remember how Beatrice Anya was strong. She was even nicknamed Mama Mavida.
Exactly.
Now when she joined the NRM, upon being appointed the minister, what happened?
Exactly.
Betty Kamya, we know the same.
An election she lost.
Exactly. We know what happened to Betty Kamya.
Exactly.
The same thing. Now, you see, in my opinion, what His Excellency looks at is discrediting particular parties and individuals.
No, he looks at people who are desperate.
Exactly.
Because let us look at people that Museveni is appointing in his cabinet. Because I heard him mention names. We start with Chiwanzanga. When did Chiwanzanga join NRM? After losing an election, he was dripping with debts. Let us look at Betty Kamya.
What about her?
Museveni fished Betty Kamya.
You see, counsel.
When we had chased her from the party.
Counsel and
when she was losing elections.
My brother
and it's the same thing with the West
if I may interject, my her lordship and counsel are forgetting one thing or one aspect about the president. It is involved in any other nation or any political affiliations. In case you want to pose an effectiveness in a society or in a community, at one point you have to identify people who are bold enough. And even her as a person, as she's sitting here, I believe they already...
They're in talks?
No, I don't know. I don't even want to say
that. The president told us that he's in talks with
this Kisanja is going to be for dialogues and I think political engagements on how they can work together. But I'm telling you, see, if we were to emulate politically a country like Kenya, even after their engagements in 2016, they had a very bitter exchange between they even went tribal. Say Baba Mesema, that is Raila Odinga with his side of the Luo dialect. That for us, Baba said we are going to stand with him. Now these are the people we vote. Okay. But today, as we are speaking...
Why are they saying that?
No,
because he's identifying with them. I dare you to tell Betty Kamya to stand on the Kampala streets now and command the people that I'm telling you to support who? To support Museveni. She cannot command anyone.
Just as you can see,
not one region.
No, just as you can see.
About the entire
just as you can see.
Somewhere she can
just as you can see. You see,
you fell from your constituency and you go to the north.
You see,
you can't actually.
The fact that she held a national, an office that makes her a national leader, is enough for Betty Kamya. She even contested as the president under her party or federal, thing. And the one region, actually, the Baganda came up to support her. I said, if we are to go for federal, we shall indeed, you see? But eventually, things didn't work out. So, I was completing. I was trying to build up a point. You see, I was using the case study of Kenya. Today, we have Ruto William, William
Ruto, yes, that's it.
Coming out, and then is dialoguing with the same people that he had bit exchange with. These are people, you see, opposition there is that election is finished. Now let's unite and work for what? For our country.
That's what the president is
now, if our own here is also advocating with the same, but her lordship says that we cannot dialogue with a dictator.
No, you cannot dialogue him out of
it is something that really says, because tomorrow you might be the one that is in the system.
Yes, but it depends, what are we dialoguing about? What is the structure of us dialoguing on?
And
it's not just a matter of saying we go and dialogue.
We have always had
the only dialogue we shall participate in is the dialogue to see Museveni out of power. Beyond that, there is no dialogue. The man has been here for 35 years. What is there for us to dialogue with him?
And to add to that, there are also what we call demeaning appointments. You see, this is, I'm telling you, yes, this is a lady who has been strong in opposition. You have been telling us this man is the worst husband one can ever get. And the man, through his wisdom or intelligence, he even makes it worse by making you an ICT minister, whereby time will come and you will be required to go and address the entire nation. And now you will be sweet talking. Yeah? You will be telling us sweet things about the worst husband you've been criticizing. So for me,
yes,
I think some of these appointments, if I was to be an opposition person that is really objective and standing for change with Ugandans, you know, in Uganda what I came to realize, and time and again I've been discussing this on this platform, Edirisa, we have a problem of people who are in opposition, but their interests are at the front, not what the individual citizens want.
You say that they are opportunistic opposition.
No. I want
You are in
values.
opposition
bring
because
the
you
deputy
know.
road mayor here.
Yes, you are in opposition because you know the president.
Mr. Tim, let's
is going
bring the
to
deputy
trickle
road
you.
mayor.
If she was representing people's
I want to
views
understand,
and
Madam
change, she
Deputy
was
Mayor,
always
Yeah.
What
preaching.
kind
She
of
wouldn't
magic do
have
you think the
gone
president is using? Oh, some kind of charm. First of all, your predecessor, Sarah Kanyike, appointed and she short-lived, you know, and now she's been dropped. The presidential advisor. I don't know whether it is kind of, you know, dropping her in rank. Oh,
This I told you, these presidential advisors even take, actually they take even a full year without meeting the president. What are you going to advise President Museveni on?
Here you also took Christopher Chibazanga,
She is the president.
and now he's out. What kind of magic do you think he uses? Is it his persuasive power or it's the weakness of the opposition? The opportunistic, like Mr. Tim put it.
Well, I don't think Museveni uses any magic beyond our money, beyond our taxpayers' money. Yeah, because he looks at people who are desperate. Yeah, because if I'm to look at
Your
my
predecessor wasn't desperate.
well,
She was in the office where
well,
you're
but
occupying right
but
now.
what plans did she have? I know for sure she wanted to contest as the woman MP for Kampala. Maybe she analyzed and realized that it was impossible for her to win an election. And for a deputy Lord Mayor, and I am talking out of experience because I was made deputy Lord Mayor a few months to my election, yeah? To contest for a deputy Lord Mayor, to contest as a councillor, it is really one of the biggest risks because somehow you're demoting yourself. So here we are talking about someone who was a deputy Lord Mayor for close to 5 years. So what was awaiting her? This is someone who wanted to come and contest as Kampala woman MP. But certainly she would not win. And yet she could not go back to contest as a councillor. So she's among the people who would say, we're a bit desperate, yeah? And that is why it was very easy for Mr. Museveni to target her. I've already talked about Christopher Chibanzanga. He had returned from an election and he had debts, yeah?
Now let's talk about
And then Museveni had to do what? Had to still run and get him because we are talking about someone who was equally desperate. So there's no magic that Museveni uses. The only magic that he uses is enticing these desperate opposition leaders using our taxpayers' money.
Did your party leadership have wrangles with Owech-Tibwa before? Because from the statement she has made, she sounded like somebody who's disappointed in you, members of the FDC.
Let her lordship
and
begin
opposition in general.
Let her lordship begin from the division between the Mogisha factor.
We shall come there.
But
Now my brother is becoming a moderator here. Allow him do his work.
I interviewed her way back in March.
Yeah.
It was the end of March. And I looked at a frustrated lady who was like, these people fronted someone against me. That is from the LUP. And also looks like she sounded like she didn't get much support from the FDC. How true could that be? And now she has actually made that very statement that where were you when these people had fronted a candidate against me? Maybe you didn't offer her enough support, and so she attributed her loss to you. And now when this chance availed, she took it up.
Let me tell you something. Of course, now she has nothing to tell the public. And I think most of you have even seen her photos, yeah? On voting day, she didn't even vote for us. But this is someone who was in charge of the party because she's been a deputy president. When Power went in for elections, she was in charge of the party. So if anything, who is supposed to blame who? Because she was the one in charge of the party. So if anything went wrong during that period, she's accountable. Therefore, you cannot start saying no one supported me when the Lord Mayor, who had not even fully recovered, yeah, was in trenches. with the OHT Wasebu go out to make sure that she wins that election. So of course, those are excuses, and we handle defeat differently. There are people who cannot imagine themselves without having any positions of leadership.
How huge is the vacuum she's living at Najanakum?
Like I have said, leadership will always emerge. And what I don't agree with is the sort of entitlement, that she has. That some of us have to go through primaries. For her, she doesn't have to go through primaries. I remember in 2016, Chikonyogo John was supposed to contest against her, and she fought, You cannot bring someone to compete against me. Why? And yet most of us face the primary. So for me, I don't agree with that. We're not in a coalition with NUP. For us to tell NUP, please do not bring a candidate against OHT Wasebugwa.
And actually, people should understand, every citizen has the right to stand for a particular position. And
so
the
what
people
powers
will
do we
decide
have
who should do
to tell people that please do not contest against OHT?
We're taking a short break. When we come back, Mr. T will start exactly from there. Don't go, we're still watching the dialogue. We'll be right back on this break.
Transform. Don't miss.
Amanya gange Bishop Bakunya Bob Mike Musumba Kanisa Bajita Heaven Kids Church.
Nange Musumba Mpango Godfrey nsinzira ku Victory Church Gango ku Kyekabuma Oserengeta awo tuli awo tutaddemu kama watutadde.
Musumba Sam Sebuliba okuva ku lwebo Sabaloboereza True Gospel Prayer Tower Ministries.
Nze kyemanyi nti oli eyo bintu bingi ebiwetaaga okukyusa, obulamu bwetaaga okukyusa, abaana beetaaga okukyusa, famire yeetaaga okukyusa, obufumbo bwetaaga okukyusa, emirimu gyetaaga okukyusa. Era Yesu Kristo kye kyamuleeta afuula obulamu bwaffe ekyo kyetaaga bubeere.
Oli mu mafuta ga kuwona. Eno pulogulaamu ekyusa obulamu, togenda kusigala kyekimu, ali awo alaba, ali okumpi, osobola okuyita muno n'abeerawo n'alaba pulogulaamu. Tagenda kusigala kyekimu, obulamu bugenda kukyuka, ate ogenda kubeera wa ddembe. Yesu atuweera omukisa omunene.
So tuva ku programu eno buli Sunday ku ssaawa 10:30. Mukama abatuweera omukisa.
Sit back and relax with BTM. We transform.
Do you want to buy genuine products at affordable prices? Well, search no more cause they Dondolo got you covered. Why walk up and down when you can order anything you're searching for and have it delivered at your doorstep in a few minutes? We have genuine electronics, home appliances, fashion products, accessories, gadgets, and so much more. All our products have guarantee, warranty, and you pay cash on delivery. Contact us on 0772 307875 or 0706 862998. Bayi Dondolo, your marketplace.
Ever wondered where to have your events, host your guests, yet in the city center and can easily be accessed? At Turban Center, we have a conference and events center. We help you to host a variety of events. We have the main hall of 700 seaters, medium room of 150 seaters, boardroom for your outdoor meetings and open space for your designed event. We host the following: wedding meetings and wedding parties, project launches, auditions and casting, fellowships, presentations, birthday parties, baby showers, conferences and seminars, product launches and many more. Expect the best without limitation with a free parking space in the basement of the building. For booking, come to Tobani Center Building on Ginger Road opposite DFCU Bank after former Nando's on 2nd floor. Conference and Event Center, the golden standard for your next executive event. This is BTM. We transform.
Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching the Dialogue here on BTM RTV. My name is Edirisa muwonge. And we are still analyzing Museveni's way of appointing the cabinet, man who holds the power to appoint and disappoint. Mr. Tim, let's start from there. He appointed and disappointed. Those who are dropped. You've talked of loyalty. I also talked of discipline. Should we assume that those ones who were dropped were not loyal enough? And I can also tell you that there are some people I've seen working for this party so much. For the time they've been in NRM, but Museveni looks like he has never considered them, to appoint them in any of these offices. So that's why we're questioning the criteria which he uses. When he goes on to pick members of the opposition to include them in his cabinet, how are these people left feeling? Doesn't that kill their heart for the party?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think on the aspect of having opposition in the cabinet, I think out of the whole list of 80, there are around two or three out of the whole list. The rest are either ex-officials and then the NRM. Because like I told you, there was some way they were trying to talk to a few key opposition leaders to come in and then fit so that they can see how to effectively play around with the political game for these 5 years. But they willingly rejected the offers, and there was nothing that the party could do, or NRM, or him as the chairperson of NRM could do, or him as the head of state could do. And but as far as is concerned, on the issue saying that he appoints or to please and then disappoint is very wrong. In any tenure in office, there's always where you're given time to lead. Some of these that were dropped have been in cabinet for the last, I think, 10 or 15 years. They have served 2-3 terms and so on. So what we are saying today is a whole...
Okay, the team should clarify, and they have offered nothing, not they have served.
No, but you see, capacity, council, it comes with the what percentage.
But practically, council, you can't be in an office
you
for
can't
more than
tell
5
me,
years and you do nothing.
You can't tell me that you are...
can't do nothing.
You can't tell me that
If I may ask...
Okay.
Hold on, let me use an example. Let me use an example.
Don't divert me
You
from
can't
my
tell
point.
me.
What has Honorable Kasaija done for this country?
Kasaija.
Apart from borrowing.
Exactly.
That is a tough one. What has Kadaga done as a speaker?
She has presided over the legislature, and so many bills have been passed into law.
Thank you.
Tell me one thing Kasaija has done, apart from borrowing.
Thank you very much. You have answered yourself that there are certain ministers who have been dropped that worked and performed.
Why don't you answer him and tell him that the man has upheld the economy of this country? There's even a time when he told us the economy is actually escalating.
But you should be looking at
We are even lucky that the title of this country is not in his custody, otherwise they would have mortgaged it.
But you should be looking at one, has he been retained? Yes, of course he has been retained. And secondly, the fact that he is there. Let me tell you, there are also other factors that could have led to the aspect they are saying that he overborrowed, or he has been a minister of borrowing. The one they have been saying that is a minister of borrowing has been transferred to Minister of Trade. And he's the one, remember we have been here together, he's the one that used to criticize so much.
They are two.
Yeah?
Kashaija and he's
But who was doing
let's
so?
talk about these people.
But then,
How they feel. These NRM people have always been overlooked. And the president goes on even to the opposition and brings some members. And these people has never given them a chance. How are they left feeling?
there are very many people that have played the key roles towards the mobilization. Nearly, if I'm to estimate, there were a lot of people that were lobbying to be ministers. But then out of all those, some were even using money.
How do they handle that kind of disappointment?
And
doesn't that kill their loyalty for the party?
Doesn't kill in any way, because you see, out of the whole, if you are an estimate of 3,000 people lobbying for 80 positions in government, to serve in government, and they have chosen the 80. For you who has been there, of course, there are other opportunities to serve elsewhere.
Let me tell you why I asked you that question. You know the infight in the NRM, where some certain members fight others, especially ministers, fighting each other in their constituencies. A minister goes on, takes that level of fronting a candidate against a fellow NRM candidate. You have heard of such cases?
It has happened even with the top executive.
Yes, that's one of the causes of such things. Did you know?
But you see, in any party, there's always a conflicts and intrigue. Any political party, there's always the intrigue. We will not only see with the NRM.
But I want to ask him a question. Then, let me first ask you before you move on.
Yes.
I've attentively listened to him saying that some people even use money to get these ministerial positions. So are we talking about people who have acquired these ministerial positions simply because they have bought their way to those positions? And imagine this is an NRM person speaking for the NRM, but he's telling us that actually people use money to get to those positions. And for me, that takes us back to the level and quality of leaders that we have. Yeah?
But
that we do not have people who are here to serve.
When I sit here,
he also said it, and for me it is absurd.
Yes, when I sit here,
you heard it from
that people are not being appointed on merit.
When I sit here,
people are being appointed simply because they braved.
Based on what I have heard.
Yes.
And what happens actually? Not just what you have heard.
And there's some information
That is what
because
happens.
even opposition, there are opposition people that don't feel right to be in opposition. They're in opposition because they want to be recognized by the old man.
Counsel, I want to bring you
That's what I don't want to touch.
No.
But they are opposition. There are people who are in opposition, but they are looking at the president to be recognized. Yes.
Let's look at
let me complete my point. And based on what she asked me.
Okay.
When I say that the people who are using money, or there are people who are putting in a lot of resources for their names to come about, it doesn't necessarily mean that these are people who are using. There are people who have come. Even a council here can come and say that, you see, I have a source of how you can. What?
No.
So that
I am using an example.
There are those that are on cabinet because they are loyal. There are those on cabinet simply because they braved and they ended up being on cabinet.
There was an overwhelming number that was duped.
But I've also ever heard the speaker
you said they are infiltrated in any political party.
members of parliament on the NRM ticket. He warned them that they should be careful of such conmen who come to them and ask them that for some money. Actually, not only money, but
how many cabinet lists came out before the real one came out? And everybody was like, you see, people, you have to wait for the original Twitter handle of the president to publish these lists.
Good.
How many people?
That's what I want to bring.
This is not something that you should do as NRM.
The deputy mayor
of course, that's what you pray.
Lordship should retract that statement.
But as someone who doesn't subscribe to FDC, as just a Uganda citizen who is objective, I would like to think maybe there's some political party which you're affiliated to, and you've never told us it. By the time I've been with you here, I haven't heard you sound partisan.
Yeah.
Now, look at President Museveni here. Go into these big opposition political parties. FDC gets not just an ordinary member from there, but a person of Sebugwa's caliber, a co-founder you know, a very big representative of the party, especially here in the central. He goes the DP, of course, previously has brought people like Nachwala Chiyingi, and then he brings people like, you know, this lady of AFA, forgetting the name, former minister, yes, Betty Kamya. The opposition political parties, they continue to tell us that they are determined to dislodge Mr. Museveni. But here, we see him going to their camps and picking one by one from there. Should we continue seeing, I think that these people are really honest in what they're doing, or whatever they are doing, even when they come on, you know, in the media and sting him, they want him to see them so that he can pick them.
Well, thank you, Edirisa. As I was saying, my point, and I would, of course, not to please her worship what she says, but I believe in what she is saying. FDC still remains a strong party. And no, of course, it's not in dispute. It remains to be among the strong found and motherhood of opposition in the country. And it shall always remain. You see, Edirisa, politics, you will always have some fronts and backwards, and you will always experience some individuals who will come with their selfish personal interests
and motives.
And in my opinion, you know, for the time some of us have some brief attachment to the central region, we have always been blamed that Baganda, we have always been wheelbarrow pushers for the last decades of years.
That is for Vatoro, not Baganda.
No, actually, I'm being realistic. Wheelbarrow pushers in a sense that, I mean, they consider us to be people who are more often found to be, okay, for lack of a better word, like fallacious, like traitors. Or at the front, I'm representing something different. And but then at the back, I'm doing the contrary to what I'm really trying to portray to the public. And this is part of the problem some of the opposition groups are facing. It would be wrong for one to believe that just because Honorable Sebugwa was left FDC, because of her personal reasons, that in the eyes of me, an ordinary Ugandan, and whatever explanation she's giving, I take them to be lame and unjustifiable.
It's not satisfactory.
It's not at all. She has just failed to tell Ugandans that, look, it's my personal ego or personal motives and selfish interests that I'm driving hard. I was in opposition so that the old man could recognize me and perhaps wait for an opportunity to dialogue and switch to the ruling government so that I can also eat something and go away. This same scenario has been in NUP. Though, of course, openly they may not come out and say, me, I'm associated to NRM or such and such a person has been appointed in NRM. But you realize some of the crucial information that the head of NUP, Honorable Chagulani, ought to be discussing with his members ends up in the NRM camp. And you wonder how that information has reached that side. So if you say that maybe Museveni has watered down FDC as a party, I would say it's wrong. Actually, if you listen to His Excellency very well, or if you have studied him for the years he has been around and the few years you've seen him, whatever he may say that maybe, let's say if I'm saying I'm in good terms with her worship, he may actually, and I'm not in good terms with Edirisa, he may actually be meaning the opposite.
That's Museveni?
Yes, that's him. If you study him well, affiliation is that kind of person who can divert you, just like you see your team from
but I don't divert you.
He told them that he diverts you from a point and takes you to another angle. But for me, the most crucial thing I would think His Excellency ought to be considering in some of these appointments, it would be serving the citizens. You see, I'm not the Almighty to decide how many years the president has, but at least for these coming 5 years, he ought to be now giving us the best qualities of leadership as he exhibited when we were still young. That is what I would expect him, and give
And that
us,
is why he has chosen this team.
and give us, this is
Which
not,
he thinks that
this is not,
he can help him.
Firstly, we need to make my point. You have made yours. This cabinet, in my opinion, I don't think it's in any way coming to effectively represent the views of the ordinary citizen.
Give them
in
an
my
opportunity.
opinion. Of course, we are going to give them.
How best would you have
days
wanted the president to pick his minister?
You see, I appreciate the fact that there is gender balance.
Yes.
But in my opinion, I don't critique the Honorable Prime Minister and then what. But there should be at least, there should be, no. I wouldn't allow that she's
just mention
because we have never
at
given her
least
chance.
positions where you think that the president failed. He brought us
Just
people
because the
incompetent.
president has a threat over opposition. But in my view, it would have made more sense if the position of Prime Minister, look out for someone from Loop. Go for Honorable go for Honorable Segona.
Maybe he reached out to them and they rejected.
No, it's not about, you see, these are offices, first listen, these are offices where the president is also certain that he cannot appoint these individuals because those are offices that are more or less powerful and they are running particular programs of the cabinet. Now, like the Prime Minister's office.
Yes.
You imagine Kadaga is made the made the deputy prime minister.
And the council are not realistic. Ask me how. Because seriously,
yes.
How? That's crazy. How can the president appoint someone from the opposition to lead government business?
No, what we are looking, you see, that's where we get it wrong. And I remember I told you that we are still young in democratic principles. Democracy means, since the time for elections has ended, let's now look at serving the individual citizens.
Yes, let's
Howard
unite.
has clearly told us
Yes.
that for the past years, His Excellency has been in power. There is nothing we have got from some of these so-called appointed cabinet ministers.
Okay.
And this is the reason. You are not appointing people who are objectively going to put up at the front view our points. But because there are people who are within your docket, I would not see any problem with appointing her as the Prime Minister to lead the government if she is competent. But you're looking at NRM cadres.
Let's bring the deputy Lord Mayor, please.
Her Lordship stated here. Her Lordship stated here, and this is on record. She stated here that they cannot dialogue with who? Because what? They're only looking at what?
Dialoguing is different from what we are talking about.
telling you that at one point, we need
to say that His Excellency dialogues before he appoints.
Let's bring in a deputy mayor. Council, is the FDC being intolerant? What's wrong with because when the president appointed Sebu Guao, immediately FDC they called for an emergency meeting
and they criticized
to decide on that matter.
They criticized
and they kicked her out. The resolution was to have her exit the party.
I think
being intolerant.
Yesterday there was
intolerant. Why don't you?
There was a public sacking publicly.
Let me make this clear. One, I'm a member of the National Executive Committee. That is one of the big organs in the party. And FDC has not sat because if anyone joins Museveni's cabinet, FDC does not need to sit.
They called for a meeting on Tuesday.
There was no meeting. And what I am telling you, that if anyone is appointed in Museveni's cabinet, if anyone runs as an independent, it does not require the National Executive Committee to sit because our party constitution is clear. When you run as an independent, you cease being a member of the party. When, in my view, and I believe Tibo has joined the NRM.
Like
certainly,
Elijah Cooper.
Yes, certainly you cease being a member of the party.
Automatically.
Our constitution is clear.
Automatically.
So we do not have to sit to decide. Maybe the sitting that would require
that's
would
the
be
intolerance.
for us.
That's the intolerance we're talking about.
No, that is democracy.
Someone is
because we have a party constitution which we ought to respect. Our objectives are very different from the objectives of NRM. So if you start working with someone that we feel discontented with, someone we feel should leave power, then how do we then continue identifying with you? So we cannot tolerate what should not be tolerated. Okay. So Tiwa felt that she had served the party maybe enough. She felt, and for me there's something that I don't agree with. There's this tendency of people thinking that there is a timeline for the struggle. Yeah? That maybe the struggle should have ended in 10 years. Maybe the struggle should have ended in 20 years. Some struggles even take 100 years. Some struggles can even take 15 years. Yeah,
but
so
actors, they have personal goals.
Yeah, there are people with their personal goals.
If I realize that it's past time, I think
and I mean we cannot stop anyone from doing that. So she has left. 20 years. So she has left. But we are still
They're reminding you she's been here for 20 years.
No, that's impatience.
And what I am saying, how long did it take ANC to finally win over?
Maybe someone could say, now they are making a comparison between you and Owechitiibwa Ssebugwawo. At your age, you can speak like that because for you still have more years ahead. And then for her, she's still at 70.
For me, that is a wrong comparison. It is a wrong comparison, and allow me explain why I think it is wrong.
Yes.
We do not have the timetable as to when one is going to die. So I might be in my 30s, but I might die before Owechitiibwa. Yeah, I know maybe this is uncommon, but we've been seeing it happening. Yeah, that someone is 100 years, but those that are in their 20s are dying. So, and for me, honestly speaking, like I was saying even when we were off air, I think the Honorable Ssebugwawo should have chosen to retire honorably. I really feel so bad when I see people making fun of her, the cartoons that they have drawn of her. It is quite absurd.
Okay. As you wind up on that matter, first complete your point. Maybe
I'm saying it's really quite absurd, and I think even her, she must be feeling bad. I hope she's even regretting why she went the other side, because I know her, she's someone who loves respect. Yeah. So for her to be seeing all those images everywhere, those funny images they are drawing of her, I think it must be tormenting her. Personally, I wouldn't feel proud that everyone is now making fun of me. We are talking about someone who has been highly respected, not only in Uganda, but in the whole country. So she's
someone
retiring.
who has acted actually as a party president.
Yeah, and I mean now everyone is making fun of her. The respect that she used to cherish, the respect that Ugandans used to give her has disappeared. In just a blink of an eye.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yes. Mr. Tim.
Yes.
On yesterday but one, the national budget was read, of course, by Mr. Lugolobi. And yes, what is it that you picked from there? Maybe you can also justify, and is it going to steer us to where we want to get?
Definitely, you see, thank you very much. Any budget that is fronted, it always has its targets and achievements or goals to make. And if you're to look at this particular one, even when we're in this very tough situation of COVID, of pandemic, it is something that we are looking at propelling. Although we still, sluggish, there is that shortfall with the turnover. We think 50% can finance the budget. So the other 50% is how we are trying to assess. But as far as it's concerned, there are sectors that the government has prioritized on working on, like we see the education aspect of it. Then the health sector also got boosted up with its own budget.
Is that true?
Yes. I think it was 1.5 trillion that has been accorded to them to handle. Though we know with the pandemic you can't anticipate, they can easily request for another supplementary budget also. And then there are also agriculture also, I think, under its own aspects. But there's also the other thing that infrastructure in some other key places is yet it's lacking. So it's also been a focus amidst other things.
Okay.
So we believe that for the fact that it is the first quarter, we should see how it is going to be implemented so that we can now try and analyze on how things are run also.
Council, about the national budget, you've been here hitting Mr. Matia Kasaija so hard. Actually, at times it makes me curious.
And Bahati.
Have you guys met before? Do you hold some personal vendetta against that gentleman?
Actually, I don't.
You hit him so hard.
I don't know any personal vendetta against that young man.
Matia Kasaija is not a young man.
I know, of course, he's an old man. Now,
why would you call him a young man?
By calling him a young man, because you know the president has time and again said even himself that he's still young. So those are his age mates. So that's why I'm referring to him as
He can't call himself young and again refer to us as his grandchildren.
That's why he's always contradicting himself.
All right, let's talk about the national budget. Yes, we have a national development plan. 2040, want to get there, the mid-income status.
Oh, it was pushed to 2040. It was supposed to be 2020.
2020, now it was Edirisa.
Yeah.
The truth.
Maybe, no, let me first answer the Deputy Road Mayor. Maybe when they get in government, they'll be doing these things very
But
quickly.
what criteria are they handling? You see.
And unfortunately, you don't provide alternatives.
Well,
do
we
you have
do.
alternative plans?
Definitely. That is why we have a shadow cabinet in Parliament.
But
that shadow cabinet always responds, always gives alternatives to all the policies that are presented by government.
Is the shadow cabinet is the shadow cabinet effective?
Well, it is.
Shadow,
we
just
have
like
all
alternatives. Shadow.
We have government in waiting.
And I mean, you have your say on the national budget.
Well, according to my principles of understanding the concept of the national budget, it's basically telling us about, it's basically supposed to entail where our expenditures are going to be more
spent
than rather saying where the money went. That's my understanding. But yes, the budget as it is, and as it has always been in the previous years, for the Ugandan budget, I think at some point it lost essence. That's why you see when most Ugandans no longer have interest in paying attention to whatever is being available, because they know obviously we are going to be exposed to heavy taxes.
I honestly agree with you on that matter, because when I was growing up, people are always curious, waiting for when the national budget was going to be ready.
Yeah.
It looks like now people have changed attitude on that.
All.
They don't care.
They read the national budget, but no one was concerned. No one was concerned because we all know it's the.
What do you think could have caused that?
One, people have time and again heard of what is read in the budget, but it's not implemented. Two, the same ordinary citizens who is being heavily exposed to high levels of taxation is not getting anything in return in terms of services. Someone is paying high taxes. The same person has a wife, she dies from the hospital. The same person who is paying heavy taxes goes to the hospital, they tell him, you have to go and buy paracetamol. We don't have those drugs. So individuals reach honest and say, all the institutions are dead. Whatever they are budgeting for is for, I think, probably the I would call it the White House. Just like Honorable, this man who was behind Miss Kavi.
Rwanda.
How we were saying that they are going to change, and for them now, for us,
another disappointed minister.
For us who have the prophets of the Almighty, whatever, Mary and what Catholics, for them they are going to change it. And they will instead be saying, in the name of Museveni, Janet Kataha Museveni, and Muhozi. So I think the entire budget has now shifted to that trend, in my opinion. And it has lost the sense of direction. Why? You see, Edirisa last year they told us they are going to include incentives for health workers, education, and then construction or infrastructure. Of course, being objective, the infrastructure bit of it, they have tried. Most up country, not in the central. And one wonders, if you have a capital city,
where you're getting much of your tax base. Why don't you develop that city? We are moving, you find potholes all over. Health sector has been a failure up to now. We are having so many people dying of COVID, not because like our citizens, yes, we appreciate there are some who are not concerned because of the myth surrounding the COVID situation. Political, some people say it's not there, but we don't have enough beds. The money that is collected, like you saw the COVID task force that was formed, we have never got accountability of that money. They lied to us that they are going to purchase ambulances. I've not seen any. You see, so that lineage of misinforming us, telling us you're going to do this and you do the contrary is what is, I think, making some individuals lose interest in the budget. Secondly, let's pay for these workers. We see how these health workers have, personally, my dad last year almost succumbed to COVID. And it's health workers who fought tooth and nail. These individuals, the health...
Government health workers who are paid government salaries. They're the ones who serve your father.
Yes.
Okay.
They are. And these...
That is service delivery, I think, in Tim's language.
No. Of course, there are some things we can't. But they are paid peanuts. We saw them demonstrating time and over again. They are doing the
by
same.
God's grace, they saved your father.
Yes.
And they are paid government salaries.
As a fact, they saved.
Tim will tell you that that's service delivery from the government.
That's of course what NRM would say. But
not NRM, but any government.
It's challenging.
Any government is
How much does
challenging.
the minister earn?
Let's not talk about how much ministers earn or whatever. We're talking about what is currently affecting us and what government
What
should
we are
address.
saying, the budget as it is, if it's implemented, because if you're saying our money is going to be spent like this,
You see, in every...
let it be allocated in the proper way to its effectiveness.
That is
But
what
the
is-
budget
that is what is there.
When we come up with such a budget and then most of its expenditure, the monies we are to use for it, we are depending on borrowing. It's really absurd. We are actually going to be indebted to the extent that this country
And
is
economists
full of.
have told there's nothing wrong with the borrowing.
Yes,
Rather.
if you can sustain the loan.
Yeah,
But our
rather,
country
you see,
now,
Yes.
we cannot, the position we are running into, we can no longer sustain the debts.
The minister told you
You remember what
that we are
happened
borrowing
with
for a good cause, because when we borrow, we make some investments.
In other words-
in
in other
the
words-
future, we're going to be reaping
Listen,
and desire investment.
in your own words, what would he say? Has he ever said that we are not borrowing for the good cause?
I don't know how council is trying to assess this,
For me,
the path of... because you see, in every budget, every financing, there's always what they call domestic revenue. That's the domestic returns that are generated within the government. Then there's external, a factor, that's the borrowing.
I
Now,
appreciate that.
if we
But
as a
if
country,
your budget is
Hold
very
on.
dependent on the external
Out
factor,
of-
that leaves a lot
out of
to be said.
44.8 trillion, if Uganda can manage to pull up to, let's say, 20 or 30 trillion, is that bad for a country?
Is that what you're having?
How? No, Kenya's economy.
No, for you comparing.
But I have to compare. I have to compare.
You have to compare good to a car.
I have to compare.
Kenya is far away and
Who told you? Who told you? I have been to Kenya before. There are services that don't reach the outcasts of Kenya, but within the CBD.
What we are saying, the big...
You say let's be realistic when you're analyzing. You can't keep on criticizing. You can't keep on.
No.
You can't keep on being a critic and yet you are analyzing something that is to benefit us. Rather, you will say that this budget to this percentage is not
In
favorable.
my assertion, didn't I say that with infrastructure they have partly achieved? Didn't I say in the previous?
But you're criticizing everything. Even India of yesterday.
We are not here to praise.
No, I am not saying that we praise. I am not saying that we praise. You see, you people,
About the
see,
national
the problem,
budget,
the problem
want
is
to
that
take
you're not
personally and
understanding.
also what is FDC's position on the 2021-2020 national budget.
I'm not here to give the FDC position because FDC has not yet sat to agree on the position, but I can give my views as an individual.
Correct.
Now, I think a reading of the national budget in Uganda is more like a ritual that must be performed. But there is nothing for the ordinary Ugandan. This is a budget that is not pro-people. This is a budget that is looking at an individual. This is a budget that is looking at the selected few. We are looking at a budget where more than 40% is going to go to debt servicing. And I've heard one of my colleagues here defend borrowing. For me,
it was a statement. It was the statement of the minister himself.
Okay, ordinarily, when you get a loan, you expect that loan to benefit you, even at a personal level. You expect most likely to use the profits that you'll have attained from the loan borrowed to help you repay the loan. But for the case of Uganda, it is a different thing. That year in, year out, we are borrowing money to make the country better, but instead, the country is worsening. The unemployment levels are on the rise, the poverty levels are on the rise, our education sector is worsening, our public health is worsening, everything is worsening. So what is the essence then of borrowing? And this money that is borrowed, what are the returns? What have Ugandans benefited? Are we just borrowing money for the sake of ensuring that Museveni's big cabinet is being paid? Should we just borrow money for the sake of paying members of parliament who are now even bigger than some of the secondary schools that we have in this country? Members of parliament that are now scrambling to have seats. So for me, I find it very absurd. And we are looking at a budget that is still treating security, insecurity, I don't have to call it security, as a priority.
Security.
And yet, we continue seeing
security is what they treat as a priority,
yes,
not
and
insecurity.
yet we continue seeing the levels of insecurity rising. Uganda has not been at war for a very long time. However, the budget for security keeps on increasing. I have not heard anywhere that at least some money has been saved from the security docket because we have not been at war. So where does that money go? And we have a head of state who knows that more than 60% of Uganda's population is engaging in agriculture. But I mean, how much has been allocated to agriculture? We are still using those backward methods for farming.
But the president said that in his plan, 4 things which is going to consider, put much more priority.
That he has always
One is commercial agriculture, helping these people to elevate them from subsistence level to commercial agriculture. Second, industrialization, then ICT.
Now, you cannot be talking about ICT. You cannot be talking about digitalization, and yet you are increasing taxes on airtime. You're increasing taxes on MVs, and we are talking about times as bad as these ones, where all of us are shifting.
Where else would the government derive its revenue if they don't tax us?
Well, I am not talking about, I'm not saying it is bad for us to be taxed. But why should I be taxed to accommodate a parliament of 500 people? Why should I be taxed to meet the salaries of a cabinet composed of 81 people, even when our constitution talks about 21 ministers? Does it make sense to you? Why should I be overtaxed? Why should I be overtaxed in order for our one full figure to be paid? In order for our one Catherine Kusasira to get money? So at the end of the day, for me, it does not make sense. That even when we were first hit by COVID in 2020, the first supplementary budget that came to Parliament was for security. It was never about our health. So for me,
is it wrong to prioritize security? Because without security, nothing can happen in this country.
So what has the security done? Because they procured cameras about the pandemic. So
those are isolated cases.
They are not isolated cases. And I already made a point that the budget for security has always been going high. Uganda has not been at war. However, we have never seen any monies that have been saved from that department.
Some of us who have been in war-torn areas, like Teso, for instance, can attest that it is the worst situation you don't want to live in. Because hold on, let me.
And I think first allow me make my submission. Of course, our team will come here and I want to blackmail us simply because he comes from an area that has been war-torn.
I am not blackmailing anybody.
When was the last time that you had insecurity in that area?
We always have insecurity. Cattle wrestling is everywhere. Just last month.
Okay, but it is not as bad as it used to be. So if they are killing people, why can't this money that is being put in security help them? Why should that money be used to torture the opposition instead of catering for the people that you're talking about?
You see,
so for me, your arguments.
And so on, we are trying to see how to assess the budget.
You see, Otim, even when you're talking about, even when you're here to defend NRM, I think you ought to be objective.
But I'm being objective.
I think you ought to look at the big picture that we are in a country where currently Kampala alone is reporting more than 100 deaths on COVID. Shouldn't that be treated as a priority? So for me, yes, like I have said, this is just a ritual. Museveni to go there, read the speech, paint a rosy picture of how he's going to construct more roads, of how he's going to improve industrialized agriculture.
When you have killed the
exactly. So it is the same
You're implying
thing.
that the national budget lost essence. It doesn't.
It lost essence. This budget is another opportunity for Museveni and his friends to steal from the taxpayers. So I don't see anything unique. And I can give you an example of Kampala. That for a very long time, Museveni has been using Kampala to play his political games. That when we had Musisi, the budget of Kampala was a bit high because he had some expectations from Musisi. Now when Musisi left and she failed to deliver Kampala for Museveni, Museveni now diverted the money to the likes of Betty Kamya to go to the ghettos because she felt Musisi had failed, Musisi had failed, and maybe Betty Kamya, like she had promised, to deliver 86%. So the money was diverted. But who does not know that Kampala is the capital city of Uganda? Who does not know that Kampala contributes 70% of all the revenues collected? Why should Kampala not be given money so that it looks as a capital city, not as a modern village? Do we really also need rocket science for that to be done? Why must we spend billions of money coming up with a strategic plan that we cannot implement? Why must we spend money coming up with a drainage master plan that cannot be implemented?
And preempt all the things, but it shall not make any sense. Because if we're arguing...
We are winding up, our time is actually up, yes.
If we are going to argue politically on a national budget, we cannot manage. You have to bring in the economical aspect.
Well, now, you can bring it. You can bring it in.
Is in charge of Kampala City Authority, together with the Lord Mayor. They're the ones that should be propelling development within the country.
But this is what I am telling you. We fetch more than 70% from Kampala.
That is very good.
That as policymakers, because we know that Kampala should not be full of floods, we have come up with a drainage master plan that is yet to be implemented. Because your policymakers, we do our part. That as policymakers, we've come up with we've come up with the street lighting master plan. But government is saying we don't have money. And from the monies that we remit to government, only 1% is returned. And for a very long time, we've been appealing to government to at least return 3% of what we collect as Kampala. That has not been done.
How much money has been allocated to the KCC?
Well, it
Her
is.
lordship should come out and say, this is how much has been allocated.
Well, we were only allocated.
As an analysis.
And this is what we would have needed.
This is what.
to analyze this plan.
As someone who's analyzing.
This is what I am telling you.
You say this much has been you see, this much has been allocated. Now, we as Kampala City Authority, this money is not in the.
Well, but this is what I am telling you. We received more than, we received less than 500 billion, and that money is less than 1% of what we remit to central government. And that is what I am talking about. And yet you have a strategic plan which needs more than 1 trillion to be implemented. We are talking about a strategic plan which was presided over by the Prime Minister at the launch. So do these things make sense? That we have a drainage master plan that requires more than what government is allocating to KCCA for it to be implemented.
I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid our time is up. We have to get out of here.
Where the budget is ready, but we still have one national referral hospital.
Yeah.
One.
So we have these figures.
You can't blame it. You can't blame it on this government, I think, because the hospital was established by the whites.
35 years.
They have come governments which have.
So whom should we blame it on? Certainly, it's the government.
Maybe even the previous government should be blamed.
No, which previous government?
That of Obote never established that one. That of
But the hospitals which are around were built by
gentlemen, and the deputy road mayor have to sign out here of this place because our time is up.
Wow, this has been so brief.
Not brief, 2 hours. Unless you have any final remarks to make, Madam Deputy Mayor. Any final remarks to make as we get out of here?
Well, like I have said, personally, we cannot have a government in power for more than 35 years. A government that has failed to deliver. And we expect it to perform miracles in the 5 years that we have added them. So mine is to rally Ugandans that we need to save this country, we need to fight for this country, and that is our responsibility. Otherwise, these things of having a team trying to come here, point a rosy picture which you cannot even defend, I honestly think it's very unfortunate. And I think I'll talk to my brother, probably.
Mr. Tim, let's sign out. Let's sign out, Mr. Tim. Let us sign out, please. Let us sign out, Mr. Tim. Let us sign out. Our time is up. Mr. Tim.
What she's doing.
You're signing up, right?
Yeah, I'm signing up.
Yes.
She's giving me a COVID jab. Very painful one.
Nice.
But I accept that. You see, in politics, we always disagree to agree.
Good.
And in any aspect, anybody outside there, it's been a very productive engagement because I've always followed her in her platforms and what she advocates for as a person, and she's someone that has potential to be very effective and a good leader for Uganda. So
not in general.
Because you see,
Council, let us sign out. Our time is up. But sign out, please.
Before I go out, I think to the general public, COVID is real.
Oh, true.
We have to really see that we observe these SOPs.
Yes, office.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
And I think we have led by example. At least we have our masks
Indeed.
on.
Our masks, apart from the host, but it's okay.
It's social distancing.
Yes, Council, sign out and we leave this place.
Well, I also add my voice to what my colleagues have said. Please, members of the public, COVID is real. We are testifying here. My dad was part of the people who was greatly affected by it. Please observe the SOPs. Time will come and we shall be great again.
Indeed.
So, to the cabinet members, yes, they have appointed you. We have nothing to do and we can't expect any good thing from Parliament.
Council, thank you so much, Council Kalali Stephen. Thank you so much, Mr. Otim. Levia Kunapesa. Thank you so much, Madam Deputy Lord Mayor. It's indeed a pleasure to have you here. And our viewers out there, thank you so much for being with us from where we started till this time. By the way, I was supposed to be with Professor Ndebe Samwambutia, but he informed us that I couldn't make it because he caught a bug. And we hope that it's not COVID-19. We pray for you, Professor. By God's grace, you'll be fine. God bless you. The viewers of BTM TV shall be here again and on the Community Spy on Monday next week. See you there.
Don't miss.
Amanya gange Bishop Bakunya Bob Mike musumbe kanisa bagita Heaven Kids Church.
Nange omusumba Mpango Godfrey nsinzira ku Victory cha Kigango ku Kyekabuma Oserengeta awo tuli awo tutaddemu kama watutadde.
Omusumba Sam Sebuliba okuva ku lwebo Saabalo obuweereza True Gospel Prayer Tower Ministries.
Nze kyemanyi nti oli eyo abantu bintu bingi ebiwetaaga okukyusa, obulamu bwetaaga okukyusa, abaana beetaaga okukyusa, famire yeetaaga okukyusa, obufumbo bwetaaga okukyusa, emirimu gyetaaga okukyusa. Era Yesu Kristo kyekyamuleeta afuula obulamu bwaffe ekyo kyetaaga bubeere.
Oli mu mafuta ga kuwona. Eno pulogulaamu ekyusa obulamu, togenda kusigala kyekimu, ali awo alaba, ali okumpi, osobola okuyita muno n'abeerawo n'alaba pulogulaamu. Tagenda kusigala kyekimu, obulamu bugenda kukyuka, ate ogenda kubeera wa ddembe. Yesu akuweera omukisa omunene.
So tuva ku programu eno buli Sunday ku ssaawa 10:30. Mukama abatuweera omukisa.
Sit back and relax with BTM. We transform. This Saturday on BTM.
Hello everyone, my name is Apostle Timothy Kasana. I want to welcome you to Life Redefined program here on BTM TV, where we share the word, we pray and believe God for great and mighty things. But above it all, we make sure that the light in His glorious gospel is shared. Please tune in every Saturday 4 p.m. to 5, and we will have a great time with you. God bless you. See you there.
Sit back and relax with BTM. We transform. This song.
You in front of my melody. You are all that matters. You are all that matters. I'll make room for two. You and I, Jesus. You are all that matters. You are all that matters. What would I gain if you take the Holy Ghost?